triggers are anger and fear.
Those are like the baseline of any woman just existing.
All right.
Hey guys, welcome to Oddcast. I'm your host Joe, and today I want to talk to you about She-Hulk, but not like a review of She-Hulk, I guess. But really, there's one criticism that I think can be levied, and I think is legit. Sup? Hey. Finally doing the thing, huh? Were we going to talk about how She-Hulk's kind of a Mary Sue? Dope. No, that's not really what's happening here. I mean, she didn't do anything to deserve her powers, really, but, like, they made her stronger than the Hulk. I don't think that they made her stronger. He did kind of win that contest in the end. How can you say that? She totally beat him in that fight. No. No, I don't think they were trying to hurt one another, so I don't think that she really won the fight, because there wasn't really a fight. Like, the intent wasn't to win. Oh, so we're going to talk about, like, how Disney Marvel is going all super woke with their MCU stuff? No, that's not it either. Oh. I don't know, man. This bit's getting kind of lame. I'm gonna dip. Solid plan. Thanks for stopping by, I guess? I don't know. Alright, so back to what I was saying. I apologize for the brief, extremely cringy take on me being Call Me Chris. And if you don't know, you should call her Chris. That was at the behest of others. They think that I should insert more of these kinds of gags into upcoming events. I'm not sold on that idea. Let me know in the comments. Please side with me and don't make me do them anymore. Thanks. That said, the one problem that I have heard other people say, and I think is a fair criticism of episode 1 of She-Hulk, is they kind of downplayed Bruce's mental illness. And when I say mental illness, I don't mean like a sickness that he has to purge himself of. I mean like his mental health. And anything that affects your anything that affects your physical health, you would call an illness or an ailment. And I kind of refer to the same thing when it comes to mental health. And I think that now the discussion, especially here in America, is that men's mental health isn't taken seriously enough. And it's really surprising to me that Marvel, who has done such a fantastic job with other aspects for other characters when it comes to mental health, like Thor dealing with his depression between Infinity War and Endgame, and realizing that even though you are depressed, you are still worthy.
I'm still worthy.
Watching Tony deal with his addiction problems, at first kind of hinted that it's alcohol, but then later it becomes he's addicted to the want to defend the world, and how he deals with balancing that in his family life, and Pepper being there to help out. I mean, those are important things. But with Hulk, there's been like this letdown, and I think that is kind of exemplified and amplified by episode 1 of She-Hulk. Now, let me start out the jump by saying I love She-Hulk. I think it's a great show. I agree with a lot of things that it says. The social commentary about how women have to put up with a lot more than dudes, I'm here for it. I totally get that. And Jen has control of her powers, which Bruce couldn't have, for reasons that I'm going to get into in kind of a moment here. But I do want to say that also makes sense. Women are, as a whole, a standard, not individuals, but as a whole, tend to deal with their emotions better. And I know that everybody's like, oh, but the stereotype is women are so emotional, they're hysterical all the time.
Well, here's the thing, Bruce. I'm great at controlling my anger. I do it all the time. When I'm catcalled in the street, when incompetent men explain my own area of expertise to me, I do it pretty much every day, because if I don't, I will get called emotional or difficult, or I might just literally get murdered. So I'm an expert at controlling my anger because I do it infinitely more than you.
No, that is because, unlike men, women have been given the green light to express their emotions. They let it out. They don't bottle it up and bottle it up and bottle it up in a very unhealthy way, which men, unfortunately, by societal norms, have been taught to do. You don't cry, you man up, you keep it strong, you keep it together. and you soldier on. That's not healthy. And Bruce was abused as a child, enough so that much like other heroes that have DID, Moon Knight, who again dealt with their issues. Now, Mark Spector, before the events of Moon Knight the show, did bottle it up enough to where he created Stephen Grant so that he could have a happy, healthy childhood and a happy, healthy life. He split his personality on purpose to protect himself. It means that he didn't actually seek therapy. He didn't go and talk to somebody. Instead, he bottled it up. He did an unhealthy thing. However, the events of Moon Knight forced him to become healthier. And as a result, he developed a relationship with Stephen Grant.
Stephen? Mark? Stephen! Mark!
And forced himself to see more of who he was. Now, obviously, there's more to unpack there. For those of you who haven't watched Moon Knight, I highly recommend it. Go check it out. But with Bruce, again, abused as a child enough to where he developed his own under-personality. Kind of like a DC villain in Two-Face, or a literary villain in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which is really who the blueprint model was for the Incredible Hulk. So even in cinema, the Hulk has been abused as a child, developed kind of a split personality almost, where when he's angry, the emotions that he can no longer control flow to the top, he loses control, loses his temper, and then of course we get the big green guy who chews up bullets and spits them back out. Which is why when we encounter Bruce at the beginning of Avengers, he's partially suicidal, a little, well, he doesn't want to be around anymore. And now that She-Hulk has made the Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton into canon, it means that he's been hunted for a long time. He was hunted by General Ross and lost a love of his life, and then lost another love of his life, and then lost his best friend. But he's got all this grief and turmoil, and I'm not blaming Jen here, but she totally calls him out on it in a not productive and not healthy way.
I'm sorry, the idea of being a superhero is not appealing to me. I'm not you, and I'm not gonna become you. I don't need to join some secret government contractor squad and have my entire life taken away from me.
My life wasn't taken away.
Really? Oh, so you didn't wind up alone? Hiding away on some remote beach with no friends, no relationships, never seeing your family, and definitely not dealing with a decade's worth of trauma? Why would you want that for me, Bruce? You're a cautionary tale.
She essentially calls him out on it, which is something that you can do, but the way that he approached it, or the way that she approached it, not so great. Even to the point where she says, hey, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry towards the end.
And I'm sorry that I said a bunch of harsh but very true things.
Wow, an apology that still doubles down on a thing you're apologizing for. That's very lawyerly.
And that's kind of a half-assed thing. Like, if I said something that truly insulted my cousin to the point where I felt like it might have been a hurt or a dig, especially because I knew the past, I just feel like it's a little bit cringeworthy. And I feel like it's not a She-Hulk issue, it's more of a Hulk issue, where I'm really hoping that we do get a World War Hulk, because what Hulk really needs to grasp with is the biggest enemy that he has, himself. Yeah, sure, now he's Professor Hulk, Smart Hulk, whatever they've labeled him, but they didn't show us that growth of character other than to say that it happened. And I think that that is an oversight, because what more men need is more examples of men saying it's okay not to have toxic masculine traits. You're allowed to experience emotion. You're allowed to cry. You're allowed to let it out. You're allowed to go to therapy and not feel guilty about it. You're allowed to go to therapy and not have a joke made about how you need therapy. Like, there's a nuance there, and I felt like She-Hulk missed the mark on that regard. It's just their way of presenting men's mental health, which is important, I think got overstepped. And I think that that is my one true criticism of She-Hulk, at least up until this point. The series isn't over yet. Maybe there will be more towards the end, but everything else I think is a fair assessment. People get upset that her powers came to her a little bit more naturally. I don't think they did. I think that she just has better emotional control, and again, didn't have everything that the Hulk had, which led him to, of course, develop the big green guy.
This is incredible. You don't have an alter ego. You don't have another guy to wrestle with for 10 years.
But I think that that's a fair criticism, because the two characters are distinctly different. Jen didn't have that rough upbringing, and hasn't been on the run, and has had, you know, a steadier, firmer grasp of things. Because I will admit, again, women tend to be more emotionally intelligent than men. It's just a fact. And it's because a lot of that is toxic masculinity bleeding into things. You're not allowed to feel those things. So I can believe that a girl has it rougher in the general sense of it. However, there are always going to be individual examples. And unfortunately, when you put She-Hulk versus the Hulk in that regard, Hulk has had to deal with a lot more stuff than Jen has, even though Jen deals with a lot more things on a more regular basis, on a more steady stream, even down to the fact that people can't even tackle the idea that there's a female Hulk, and they are still on Twitter talking all about it. It's just weird to me that that's part of the conversation. Like, you should be able to see the difference between those characters. And again, that's my one criticism, the one thing that I got so far. Otherwise, totally great. I love what Marvel's doing. But of course, we're about to meet another sad character here shortly, and I'm interested to see how they deal with a tragic hero in a lighthearted show. So we'll find out. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. As always, I'd love to hear from you. If you think that I'm way off base, tell me. If you think that I'm on the right track, also tell me. If you don't want me to ever do a bit like that again, tell me. And while you're down there, go ahead and hit the like, subscribe, and little bell for notifications. And other than that, you stay safe out there, guys. And please, if you're feeling depressed or if you're feeling lost, reach out to somebody. Get help. It's not anything to be embarrassed about. You should definitely do it if you need it. Thanks, guys. Have a great one. This is Joe. This has been Oddcast, and I'll see you next time.